you get in with a company and you make a movie and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And it's a much smaller version, but at some point they send you over the trailer. Their trailer house is cut up for your independent movie. You and the guy who made the movie look at it. It's 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and it blows ass. It's not funny. It doesn't represent the movie. It doesn't whatever. And so what happens is I do what I always have to do with everything, which is I go into the edit bay, and then I cut together a trailer for the movie. And then the following Monday, you get a bill from the company that says, you know, here's an invoice from the trailer house that cut together the trailer, $17,900.26. And you realize I cut the trailer together. We didn't even use that one because it sucked.
Right.
And they go ahead.
But they'll pass it along to you.
And they remove that. So whatever money they get, the first $17,900 goes to the trailer house, even though the trailer house sucked. And by the way, who knows what the trailer house charged? You know, there could be a percent that they put on top of that and whatever it is. That's why I got out of that business because.
Well, you cut out that whole kind of segment or percentage or person who was taking a large piece of your pie. You went directly.
Oh my God, this business is, but was especially filled with with professional beak wetters. They're basically called they're called NRPs. They're non-riding. Oh, sorry, NWP. Sorry, NRP is a non-removable pin for hinges for like patio doors.
Thank you.
That's an NRP. This is NWP. Although to me, riding always starts with an R. They're non-riding producers. They're people. It drives everybody insane because the folks that sit there, like my buddy Kevin Hench, that produces, writes, and created Tim Allen's show, Last Man Standing. If you call him on a Friday night at 9 o'clock, he's in the office because they're trying to put the script to bed. And if you ask him if he wants to go to breakfast on Monday, he'll tell you he has to be in the office at 8 a.m. because they're trying to finish the script and they have a table read that afternoon. But there's 6 other guys when the credits roll who have the title producer next to them that never show up at the office.
And really don't do a thing.
They don't do a thing, and they get paid, and they get points, and they get ownership. I mean, the greatest example of that is my old manager, Howard, who's Dr. Drew's manager. He got paid for season 5 of The Man Show, and me and Jimmy didn't get paid.
Really?
Because season 5 was done by Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope, and Jimmy and I had moved on. And because through some semi-nefarious finagling, we didn't have ownership of The Man Show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. So the guy who did nothing except for show up and eat on tape days got paid tens of thousands of dollars for season 5 of The Man Show, and the 2 guys who created The Man Show didn't get a penny between the 2 of them. That's the way the town works, and that's what I'd like to avoid.
That's how Hollywood works because if you notice, and it's one of the fascinating things about the credits, when you watch credits and who's on there and who actually gets the credits, it's basically if you put a deal together, and putting a deal together is maybe one of the most euphemistic terms you'll ever hear. I mean, you know, one guy calls another guy, and then the other guy calls another guy, and next thing you know, that guy's a producer. And that lasts in perpetuity or as long as the whole show comes together. And then you get producing credits, as you say, and when you start to drill down who's doing what, you find that there is no correlation whatsoever between actual work and the credit itself.
No, and I'll tell you the part that's funny. The part that's funny is when the guy who's doing nothing, didn't create anything, and people don't understand, when you're doing a production and you're in the heat of the production, it is a grind. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, bunch of guys sitting around, you know, ordering pizza and sushi and sitting around a mahogany table. I've been in that environment. If anything, it's a grind. It's not like, you know, roofing or, you know, shooting gunite and making a swimming pool or something like that, but it is a time grind. You can be there.
It's also mentally mentally exhausting.
It is. It absolutely is. You don't know how hard it is to write jokes when you're kind of spent and you've heard the same jokes over and over again. I mean, you can be sitting in that room on the studio at 2 a.m. You can be getting notes back from the studio, at 9 a.m. the next morning, and all the notes need to be addressed from the network by 10 a.m. for the run-through. Like, it is a grind. It doesn't need to be a grind, by the way. There's a bunch of stupid fucking yentas that are working for the fucking studio and the network that have to give you retarded notes that you have to listen to, by the way,
exactly,
even though they know nothing
right.
about comedy. I've said this many times. Have you even made somebody smile in your life? Fuck laugh. Have you made them smile in their life? And if the answer is no, why am I taking notes from you on comedy? It's insane. It's insane. But I have a question. I'm going to tease a question for you.
Okay.
When I made these movies, I had a situation once where I made a movie, and it's like I said, look, I wrote it with Kevin Hench, and I co-directed it with Kevin Hench, so, you have to work out the credits. You brought up credits.
Right.
And so you go, okay, so what do you want to do? And then me, just being a normal human being who thinks properly, I said, well, we'll have the credits read written by Adam Carolla and Kevin Hench, and then we'll do directed by, and we'll say Kevin Hench and Adam Carolla, and that'll be that. Fine, good, because that's what we did. And then the DGA or the Writers Guild or the whatever gets hold of it, the union gets hold of it, and then the word comes back, you can't do that. And I go, why not? And they go, because you can't, because they're not going to let you. And I go, well, I don't give a fuck whether they let me or not. I made this film. Did they pay for this film? No. Okay, well, fuck them. No, they're not going to let you. I go, I don't get that part where they're not going to let me. This is nothing. They didn't pay for this. They didn't pay me. They didn't do anything. And I say we just put it out this way. Oh, you can't, because they're not down with that. Also, I don't want to be in their fucking union either. I'm forced to be in their union. I'm forced to work.
I mean, you're compelled. You're done if you don't.
They take money out. And I say, I've always said that if I had enough F me money and enough time, and Mark Geragos had enough F me money, we could take this thing to the Supreme Court and we would win. There's no possible way in this country some union that I don't want to be a part of can compel me to tell the people who wrote and directed this movie and in what order and whatever that is, according to their rules, when they have nothing to do with this piece of art that I've created and that I have underwritten. But I want to know what your thoughts on not being in the union and or the legality of the union simply taking your first paycheck and going, well, you're now in.
we just confiscated it.
Right.
But
hold on. Don't answer that yet. I'm going to tell you about LegalZoom. I'm not sure if they could unravel this conundrum. Nate Adams, the guy I makes the film with, too. It's very confusing to a guy like me when I go, they go, how do you want to do the credits? And you go, well, let's do this and let's do that. And then you lay it all out and thanks to and whatever. And they go, fine, we'll submit it to the DGA or whatever it is. And then it'll come back and they go, they rejected it. You'll go, I don't know, what is there to reject? But it reminds me a lot of the ATF when they're like, well, we need a label for your alcohol for Mangria. And I go, okay, how does that work? And I go, you put a letter together, you write them what's going to be on the label, and then they review it. And you go, okay. And then you give it to them, and they go, they rejected it. And you go, what were their objections? They don't say. And then you go, well, what do we do? Well, what you do is do another one and give it to them and wait another 2 months and see if they don't reject it. And I just thought, well, this is awesome. This is an awesome system. And by the way, as I like to say, how people operate when there's no competition, right?
Exactly right. So one of my guys said this week that hell, Armin told me this, he said hell, because he's dealing with Southern California Gas, he says hell is not other people, it's not being in a hole with a life insurance salesman. Hell is dealing with a public utility. I mean, whether it's DWP, Southern California Gas, it's just, that is hell because it's a built-in monopoly. They don't care. They don't have to have service. They don't have to please you. They just, you have to deal with them. So your only alternative is to sue them. I mean, or at least my alternative is to just sue them.